you have to stand your ground.
Absolutely.
Without being arrogant, because then you will be the bitch in the room, right?
Yes.
And then it's self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's one of those things where if people don't know you yet, they need to know what you bring to the table and why you're sitting in the chair you're sitting in.
This is MobileGroove at Mal in the podcast corner, talking to women, hearing their stories, and stories that I want to bring to you because I just can't keep them to myself. Because if you understand the story, then you understand how it relates to you. And I think that's the power in storytelling. And that's where I come to Sarah Chafer, who is from Xsolla and my guest. And what is fascinating about your story, Sarah, is it's something we're all dealing with, you know, not just like rapid change, like seismic change. I mean, I'm looking at what you've gone through. Now you're head of ad sales at Xsolla, but you've been in the mobile ad space for a while because we know each other going back. We finally have a chance to chat.
This is great.
I mean, we're
so
looking
excited.
at 13 years building at Tapjoy, then navigating cultural shift when, of course, that went to IronSource and you went with it. Then you had to ride the wave through Unity because Unity bought IronSource. So there you are in another company. And now, before that, TV Scientific. And now, shaping Xsolla, which is an exciting company because I think it's shaping the future of commerce.
Absolutely.
That's what's exciting for me. So it's great having you, but like, wow, change. Sarah, how, it must have taught you some amazing lessons, but what is one of them beyond maybe just like patience or, dealing with the flow?
Dealing with the flow, fast-paced environments, new technology, lots of shifts in privacy in the mobile space.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a wild few years. And when I think about everything that I've gone through personally with each of these companies, the journey has been nothing but educational for me. So I've really loved just being exposed to a lot of different leadership styles, cultures, other women in the industry who've shown me unique tips and tricks that have helped me grow personally. When you think about where you get your education these days, it's through experience.
I like that. You're leaning in on education rather than frustration, which is what some people could do, right?
Yeah, and you know, some days are frustrating, but you learn from these moments, you learn from the change, you learn from new exposure. Even jumping from mobile to trying to bring mobile into a CTV environment. You just get like a massive education in new technology. And I think that's so exciting.
So things that we learn, things that we do, they shape us, right?
Yes.
And they shape who we are. And in this case, it's women leadership. So it's leadership style. What has it shaped in your leadership style, Sarah?
I think, when I think about my own leadership style, I tend to be a leader who thinks about how to bring technology and education even within my own staff or my own teams. Xsolla is actually really great about this. They encourage their employees to spend hours every week learning new things.
Oh, wow.
Great training setup. It's something I've been really impressed with since joining the company. And that really aligns with my own leadership style. And if anybody's ever been on my team, they know I go through what I call a career development chat with every person on my team, asking people what they think about their career. Are you in the right role? If you're not, how are you going to get to your next role? And how can I help?
I wish I could work there, but no, I'm a journalist. I am where I am. I'm an analyst, journalist, content strategist. I can't cross over, but it sounds great. And I'm thinking about the lessons that we learn along the way. And I had to ask you one because, if you think about it, it's about leading with focus. We heard about that, but I think also leading with a little bit more flexibility. You had to learn that along the way.
Absolutely. When entering a new situation, whether it's an acquisition of a company or joining a new company, I think being adaptable and being flexible and being nimble in your leadership style is really important. I compare it to a talk that I had with my 14-year-old about coming from elementary school to junior high.
Oh, yeah.
So you have lived your entire educational career as a young child with one teacher every year. You learn their tips, their tricks, how you turn in your homework, where you like the name written on the paper. When you get to middle school, you've got 7 different leaders to think about and to learn. And I think that way about acquisition. When 2 companies are merging together for the first time, you've got multiple different ways of
yeah.
leadership. And it's that adjustment period. It takes time and you have to, as a leader, you have to make yourself, available for that change.
Well, when I was chatting with you before in prep, I wrote down, and maybe you write it, who knows, the Consolidation Survival Guide.
Maybe.
I think that would be very cool. So a lesson that you learned about when teams get acquired, because ultimately in an acquisition, someone somewhere is saying, okay, 2 companies, 2 teams, they need to be consolidated. What's a lesson you've learned?
You know, when I think about the consolidation effect and bringing 2 teams together at a high level, strategically, it makes perfect sense for businesses to be merging in these ways. And I think as a woman, as somebody in leadership, one thing that I talk to my teams about is knowing what it means for you personally. And there's a lot of lessons that you can learn, and there's a lot to be gained from consolidation. Mm-hmm. So when you think about it, even now, right, if your company's not being consolidated, what is your equity in the company, and what does that value hold for you, and what would it mean if your company got acquired tomorrow? Oh. And then the other way I think about it is, you're going to gain something out of this, and it might be a valuable lesson. It might be a very quick trip, with kind of like a very quick education. And that's not an education you can go pay for at a college, right? It's something that is learned in real time, and it's an amazing experience to go through from that perspective. Even if it doesn't end exactly how you want it to, that's something you can put on a resume. I went through a consolidation and acquisition, and I think a lot of future employers will look at that and say, yeah, that's a valuable lesson.
Absolutely. I mean, you understand the process, what happens.
Yes.
And equity, that's a great point I have not heard. But it's coming from you. It's going to be truthful. There's probably some painful story behind that you might want to share another time. But that's a great tip.
You know, equity is something that I think you don't really learn about when you're in college or even with your first job. I remember getting my first stock package when I worked at Ask Jeeves. Yes, the original ChatGPT.
Oh my God,
20 years ago.
I remember it.
You get this offer letter and it says so many shares of stock, and you really, as a young person, don't know what it means to you.
No.
And I think over time, I've gotten better about asking the question and trying to understand what it means for me personally. You know, it's part of your compensation. It's something that you should think about when making decisions about your career and just really understanding what it means for you personally, particularly in a consolidation effort.
So I told myself I wasn't going to ask it, but the more I know you, I know I'm going to get a cool answer. So, you know, the thing about consolidation is you've got to come in there, and you can't come into the room like the outside acquired, I'm sorry, but bitch in the room, right? You want to get to the point, but you want to do it with some balance, some finesse.
It's one of those things where if people don't know you yet, they need to know what you bring to the table and why you're sitting in the chair you're sitting in. That's been a valuable lesson that I've had to learn over time, is just how to bring that confidence to the table without coming in arrogant.
I remember at the Women in Leadership event last year, I had something similar. It was like, you know, I lead with data and results, and you can't argue against that, right? You can't argue against it. Is that what you think, or is there something else? Because you have to stand your ground.
Absolutely.
Without being arrogant, because then you will be the bitch in the room, right?
Yes.
And then it's self-fulfilling prophecy.
100%. Yeah. I mean, data is so important, especially as women, for us to know our data, to be on top of it, to understand our facts. But also, I think there's a fair amount of bring your stories, bring your history. If you've been in this industry long enough, you have learned a lot, through mistakes, through wins. But I think you have to share those and be willing to say when you've made a mistake and you've learned from it. Or talk about all the good things you've done. I think other people have a lot to take from our stories. Mm-hmm. So I guess my advice would be don't be too shy.
All right. And I love it. We end almost full cycle and full circle because it is about stories. Sarah, I have enjoyed hearing your story.
Thank you.
I will love listening more and continuing the conversation and finally having some quality time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peggy. This is wonderful.